Yeah. Hello, people.
Well,
He's Roland. I'm Rish.
and over there, the person amused in Florida is my friend Rish. And yeah, Rish, our favorite country.
Yeah.
Well, um,
So look, I'm just gonna go on record. We're recording. I was wrong. You were right. I'm short. You're tall. I'm stupid. You're smart. You have bigger feet and bigger socks. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought that this Chinese police stations and other places stuff was a load of BS. I thought you were exaggerating because you had lived in that police state. It's not. They showed a map on the news where after so they found the one in New York. Well, they didn't find it. Everyone who they were harassing who didn't get unalived or, I don't know, kidnapped, shanghaied. I don't know. Is calling someone Shanghai, is that racist now? I don't know. Anyway,
uh,
turns out there's like 10 or 12 of these secret Chinese police stations in America. For our European audience, America, if you did not know, we don't really mess with the international court. We don't let Interpol come here and act like police. And these are our friends. This is a widely widely viewed organization, Interpol, being, reputable and serving a purpose and accountability. We don't even let them come. And now it turns out we got like 12 secret Chinese police states. So you were right. You weren't exaggerating. I wasn't thinking, okay, I was thinking you were a little conspiracy theorist on that. And I was just be like, well, he has his conspiracies. I
there
have
is
mine. It
something
was
going
all true.
on.
It's all
I
true.
mean,
It's
there's a
all
bigger
true.
picture. There's a much bigger picture about it. And first of all, what
They
I
were
like
destroying
about this,
documents when the FBI showed up.
what I like is first of all, these two guys who got arrested in New York. The first comment was, no, this is not a police station. And then the next news was, America is harassing our police officers. And I'm
If
like,
it's not a
wait a
police
second.
station, who
Hmm.
shreds documents when the FBI shows up? I mean, I've never had the FBI show up because I don't leak or
You don't want
obtain
to.
documents that
You
the
don't want
FBI would
to.
want. But I'm pretty sure shredding and like starting fires in the middle of the office space would be considered, suspect.
Um, I mean, they have a couple of things to say. What I experienced with fires inside the building. So my neighbors in China thought this was just common practice to light a fire in your bloody flat to cook something at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. Turns out the smoke detectors didn't agree with them, and the whole fucking building was evacuated at 2 bloody a.m. in the morning. And
At
I'm
least
like,
the
really,
smoke
people, come on.
detectors worked.
Yeah, that's one thing. And no, even the fire brigade, which is organized basically by the army in China, they told them, no, don't do that. And they, well, why? Why can I not do that? So
Had they immigrated from the countryside or were they new to urban
yeah,
life?
sort of.
Well, I could
That's
see how if you
very
were new
euphemistic
to
to.
an urban environment that, that's how you
I mean,
cook all your meals.
it's yeah. Let's not go there. Let's talk about this because, like I said, there's a bigger picture to these police stations. So, number one, yes, there is a Chinese police station in your country, wherever you are in this
No,
world. So,
there's more than one.
more than one. So the other thing I like about these police stations is one of these morons was harassing a dissident in the Netherlands and basically threatened him. I'm just gonna stab you, and nothing's going to happen to me because I have diplomatic immunity. Turns out the Dutch police didn't give a flying flamingo, arrested the person, and there has been no news since. So I don't know whether they sent him back, whether he's rotting in a Dutch prison. I mean, the Dutch are
That
known for
doesn't
their
sound very
open-mindedness, but
Dutch.
oh,
Or
Me
is
as a
it?
German, the Dutch are very open-minded, very liberal, very nice and friendly until you piss them off. Then they are, yeah, you rather don't want to get in their way at that moment in time. So, but then again, especially, hey neighbors, my Dutch neighbors, me being
I can
German,
see how they
they have a
wouldn't like
beautiful
you.
country. Why? They have a beautiful country. They have
No, I
beautiful.
could see why the Netherlands and the Dutch would be a little hesitant, and the Belgians
Mm,
of Germans. And I imagine all the goodwill that America had after some stuff in the 40s, and I imagine that Americans eroded all that goodwill away by going over there, getting drunk and high and pissing on their statues. So
well, I
it
mean, the
probably,
Dutch know we mostly leave. We come and leave in peace these days. So,
yeah, Americans and Canadians are pissing on statues. It's an older news story, but yeah,
yeah,
we're sorry.
Chinese police stations coming to a city near you. Um, I need to go to the new security law. First of all, I will link that security law translation into English in the description of this video. And on first look, whenever you say, well, okay, maybe not how I would word things, it is worded, it could be part of the translation, but it is worded very, oh, wait a second, what does that mean? Yeah, it is, how to say, it's not an organic English. It's very, sounds a bit artificial and technical, but fair enough. So the problem with that law is it is very, very opaque. That is the word that is being used in the comment to describe what a state secret and espionage actually is.
Is that how y'all pronounce opaque?
Opaque, or whatever you pronounce it,
I'm
man.
just wondering if it's the same word. Okay.
I have no clue. I'm not. I'm. What do you call it? I'm not a linguist. So,
Carry on, my wayward son.
what is so concerning about this, rightfully, is that A, how things are defined, and B, how the Chinese justice system works. Definition of state secret is, well, first of all, it includes balance sheet, financial information, annual report of any business registered in China. So this was the big row the Americans had. Well, you can't list your stocks on American Stock Exchange if you don't publish your financial information. It's
That's
common
one of
sense.
our laws.
It's a bloody law. And again, this shows how much regard and respect Chinese government has for other countries, their laws, their culture, and so on. None whatsoever. So, and it's really a question for all the Western people. Why is China and the Chinese government the only country, the only government in the world that gets a pass on this? So I would like to remind people that in regards to the same thing, in terms of transparency laws, the Swiss banks were simply told, if you don't give us the data we want, you're out of the stock exchange. No discussion. And essentially, the Swiss banking secret is, or has been, in a one way to view it, has been undermined by these two in specific laws passed in the US. So, and really, you want to do business in the US, you want to be listed on the American Stock Exchange, follow the goddamn rules. The other thing is,
Yeah, but our rules come with hefty taxes.
well, look, when you look at the rules, I could say that about the German tax code, but anyways,
Anyone paying taxes thinks they have stringent taxes.
The other thing is, if you do the same thing, ignore the law, violate the law in China, you are in for a very bumpy ride, and they don't give a damn who you are. So the concerning thing about this new wording of the security law, it is not defining what are state secrets. So only by experience, for example, these balance sheets are state secrets. In essence, and this is now the part about how does the Chinese justice system works. The Chinese justice system is not a rule of law country justice system, it's a rule by law. So the difference is if you are in a rule of law country, you have a law, it is clear, it is consistently interpreted in courts, whether it is civil law in my home country, Germany, or what's it called? Well, it is just a difference in how the law works. So, for example, if a law has to be interpreted in American or British courts, that is the precedent everyone can refer to in the future. So, and you can't really deviate that much. That is why the law is so, or one of the reasons why Americans are so litigious. So they have a clear outline.
We're an extremely litigious society. Yeah.
I mean, in
McDonald's
China,
got sued over hot coffee. We have reeled it back since the days of those cases. I mean, it has gotten better, but
there is a common sense. There needs to be a common sense approach. You don't have any such planning or security when you go to court in China. The court will decide whatever they want. That's essentially the fact. So, and that is the concerning part in terms of how this applies to foreign entities, whether they are organizations or individuals. You can at any time be put in front of a judge in China who will make up some charges and send you to prison, give you a fine or whatever. Because, first of all, it is what the chairman wants. That's how the law is being implemented. And the actual concept of law, rule by law, means this is the kind of outcome we want. Hence, we make a law to punish you. So there is also no idea.
Yeah, but in China, can't they make the law after your sentencing?
Pretty much, yeah. But they don't have to. There is another law called punishing you if you are spreading rumors and causing trouble. That is the translation, and it literally applies to anything. Applies to anything.
That African general, was it Rwanda or Uganda? He said, "I can guarantee you freedom of speech, but I cannot guarantee freedom after speech."
Well, it's one way to put it.
Well, that was the guy. They were asking him like if he was a fan of Hitler and stuff, and he just starts laughing at the reporter. Like, you realize you cannot leave this country. And I just see that as that's kind of how I view China. Like, if I go there and I say something, I'm probably just not coming back, So don't go.
Spreading misinformation and causing trouble. For example, if Chairman Xi wakes up in the morning and says the sky is China red, and you say, well, my sky is blue. That is spreading misinformation because that's not what the chairman said. So, and people out there thinking I'm making stuff up. No, it is happening on a daily basis. So, literally, there is people being put into the legal system, and once you well, pretty much in any country, once you are an offender, you are an offender. But there is no such thing in China as you have spent your sentence, you are a free person, and so on and so forth. It will not be held against you in this and kind of that. No, there is no idea of you can. How do I say that? You can better yourself. Yeah. So there is. We keep having this naive idea about Chinese justice system being reformed by, I hate to say it, by Germans, actually. It's not so much what kind of justice system you have, but how it is applied. So Now, another fun fact about police stations abroad is I invite all the viewers to look at the bridge that goes from mainland China to Hong Kong. You will find there is an artificial island in the middle with a structure on that island, a structure going quite deep underground. And now, Rish, take a wild ass guess what that structure is.
A really, really, really nice machine gun nest.
Well, I don't know if they carry out sentences, but it's a detention center for about 300 people.
Well, I would imagine that it would basically, when I say a machine gun nest, if you're over here and you cause problems, why get your loud mouth where we've already got everything locked
Do you want
down?
to
We can just
know?
take you somewhere
Do you want to
closed
know
and
something else?
go stand in front of those sandbags. Would you like a cigarette?
Another thing, if it's officially it's a border checkpoint. Yeah.
Well, hey, it could be worse. In North Korea, he executed his own uncle with a flat gun. God damn.
Yeah, you mean you save ammunition if you use a larger caliber, but case in point, if that is just a border crossing point, it is a really nice location. There's ocean around it. You can't run away. And secondly, what people don't know, you would assume if it's a border post, yeah, it is on one hand the Hong Kongese police force checking everybody going out. On the other side, the Chinese force checking anybody who's going in.
And it would be above ground.
Yeah, what people don't know is that these structures are actually connected and it is one detention center. So it has been a thing. A lot of people
know.
A lot of people fleeing China would have fled in the past to Hong Kong. So no longer an option. If they want you can't even run away on that bridge.
So how many like Brits are left in Hong Kong? Because I had some people that I worked with who left, Hong Kong, and Hong Kong was not the way that I pictured it, in the Jackie Chan movies, because they were telling me about some crazy stuff in Hong Kong when the British ruled it. There was like one park said no dogs, no Chinese, but if you brought a dog, no one would complain, I believe was the quote. So, I mean, how many of these Anglo-Saxon, like British nationals, Indians, from India, like how many of these British colony people are still left in Hong Kong? Or is it pretty much just ethnically Han Chinese still there? Because what's happening to the foreigners, the Wilos, the round eyes?
I can't give you details about British nationals and Hong Kong. What I can tell you is that, first of all, a lot of people bring their dependents, their wife, their husband, their kids. Yeah. So what happened during the time I was there is China made it disincentivized that kind of thing. So what usually happened is that the company was incentivizing you by, well, you get expatriate salary, you get your flight paid, you get your school fee for your kids paid. You want to send them to the international school, not the Chinese school.
But that's the only thing that Hong Kong had, right? Was the financial sector.
Hong Kong was pretty much finance. There was a lot of.
Well, I mean, they're not growing soybeans on Hong Kong.
Nope. No, the thing is not specifically for Hong Kong. What happened between 2016 and 2021 with that kind of arrangement is that, first of all, it is no longer a tax deductible for companies, and companies started refusing to pay for your kids' school. So the couple of people that still brought their kids because they negotiated, well, you're paying me, or you put it in my salary, or whatever.
Yeah.
The next law passed was, even if you are an international school, you have to teach the Chinese curriculum, which includes Xi Jinping thought. So,
is this true in Macau too? Because Portugal had am I pronouncing it as Macau?
Macau, yes. Macau has, well, let's
Because you
say
don't
we
hear
are
about it
saying,
as much.
yeah, because
But then
Macau
again,
is,
you don't hear about the Portuguese as much as the British in international news.
look, the thing that happened with, well, Macau and Hong Kong is essentially the same story, but in Hong Kong there was more of a pushback because British, because violation of the treaty. The Portuguese, when they left, they stopped, essentially stopped caring, pretty much. And
They
China
just cashed out
goes
their
in.
chips and okay.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, Macau as a casino hotspot, it is used. Hong Kong and Macau are used by China as a different iteration of China, essentially, to do stuff that is illegal in mainland China. For example, gambling is much more regulated, if not outright illegal in China. Financial services are very restricted in mainland China. So it is really saying, well, this part of China is, if you say it's not China, we say it's China, and we are angry. If you're treating it like China, we are also angry. But
You're
in
sorry.
both places, you are in a tough spot nowadays, and Chinese law is being enforced. And look, fair enough. It has been part of China before. Before it was leased to Portugal, to Hong Kong, to the
Okay.
British. But the Germans buggered off after World War One,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, before we
So
get too far back, I have to explain why I started laughing. It's not that you're making not making great points. It's in my head you're describing Cancun and Tijuana, Mexico to Americans. Like, yeah, it's not really legal, but if you
but
go there, it's kind of a party.
uh, going back to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why
Do they
did
have their own police? Because we're talking Chinese security and their security
technically,
laws. Does
yes.
Macau have a death center or, excuse me, border
Um,
office there?
I don't know if they have border or enforcing the border with
Because Macau
Macau.
has a tunnel, yes? It has a tunnel.
Don't do look again. Don't ask me the details. I have not been to Macau, and looking at what is happening in Hong Kong right now, and Macau is much further down the line.
Mhm.
Essentially, what is happening right now is if you get into any kind of trouble in Hong Kong, so let me just put it that way. You may or may not still have access to Facebook, but if you say things that the chairman does not like, you will be arrested and extradited to China or China mainland. That's essentially it. So, and
They
in
just
terms
come
of,
snatch you up.
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
okay.
So whether
Okay.
they use the Hong Kong police force or whether they go in themselves nowadays, at the end it doesn't really matter, does it? Who is
No,
arresting
someone's
you is
snatching you out, putting a hood over your head, and throwing you in the back of a van in cuffs.
I think the Chinese approach is not to give you a hood. They want you to see what's coming for you. So
That's dark.
it gets a lot darker. And as I said earlier, around China, the Chinese government under Xi Jinping has absolutely zero respect or regard for other countries' policy, laws, or anything. So what these police stations are doing is enforcing Chinese law in a foreign country. And well, if you try that in China, you are very quickly in Xinjiang, and they're not going to let you out again. So there is something called sovereignty of the nation state, which basically means the legitimate government of the nation state has the privilege of force. There is a concept like that in Germany, and it basically means we make the laws, we interpret the laws, we enforce the law with the holy trinity of judiciary, parliament, and so forth. Yeah.
Mhm.
So now you have if a foreign entity wants to extradite someone, wants to enforce laws abroad, it has to go through the equivalent agency in that country.
Mm-hmm.
None of these police stations have been approved by the American police or by the American taxpayer government judiciary.
If they get approved, the citizenry is going to, like I said, they haven't found any of those in Florida yet.
There's definitely one in Florida. So
yeah, but if you tell us, yeah, we'll handle that. Don't worry about that. You don't need to send nobody.
I'm not concerned about. Well, the thing is how China operates in this regard is, well, first of all, let's put a police station with Chinese police officers in a country somewhere. So the one up here in Scotland is one floor up from a Chinese restaurant. And the British authorities are too scared to raid that place because China will retaliate.
And I don't understand why the citizens don't go and just burn the place down and beat the fuck out of everybody.
Well, that would be a hate crime, my friend.
No, that would be repelling a foreign invasion.
Well, that is you.
You're not beating them, but see, that's the thing. That's the thing. So anyone who immediately goes to race crime is thinking about it as in a racial thing.
Exactly.
The first way I think about it, it's defending your nation because foreign people have put agents to harass either U.S. citizens or people who are here legally.
That is the next.
So go and beat the shit out of them.
Concerning. First of all, we put a police station there. Nobody is really doing anything about it. Now we harass the dissidents and Chinese people that we want back to punish them in China. Yeah, that is what they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So, and the next step is, well, nobody is really doing anything about us enforcing Chinese law on the Chinese people that we want. Let's enforce Chinese law on people like you, me, who say something that we don't agree with. And surprise, there is a law in China that very clearly states it was passed in regard to the Hong Kong security law. Essentially, what is happening is that if you, a foreign national in a foreign country, does something the chairman disagrees with, and you come into the reach into a country that has an extradition treaty going through Hong Kong or whatever, they can legally arrest you. So doesn't matter if what you're doing is legal in your country, they don't care. The current Chinese government wants to enforce Chinese Xi Jinping law in every single country in this world. And if we don't stop these Chinese police stations, this is exactly what they're going to be used for, harassing people like you and me. They are already harassing people that have fled China for whatever reason.
That's the difference. They will not come and harass me. They will not come and harass people. Look, because we've already made episodes about this. A lot of the Americans, the getting louder silent majority that just wants to be left alone and have their freedoms. You come to people like that. We've already done an episode on it. They leave in a bag if they're not buried on the property.
That is the whole thing. So I will say something about exactly that scenario in a moment. But what I'm saying, they are not going to start with that kind of stuff in the States. They're going to try this kind of stuff in a smaller country, a country that is possibly more or less opposing, shall we say?
Would it be a country that has more people than firearms?
Possibly not.
Because we're 120 firearms per 100
sorry, I got
people.
this other way around one.
Yes, we have 20 more guns per 100
the thing
people.
Is,
don't come here with that bullshit.
What would happen? Let's say in the US, you have legitimate reason to defend your property and your life. Yeah. Now you have someone trying to enter your property that is in the country illegally for a purpose that is illegal, and let's not go to the ultimate boom headshot solution. Let's just say one of these Chinese agents is on your doorstep and you smack them in the gob. Yeah, the guy falls backward and is trying to sue you. Under what ground? You came uninvited for doing something that you're not allowed to, bitch. Really? And you see, they are smart enough not to do that. That guy in the Netherlands, the fucking idiot, trying to pull that kind of
What do you
stuff,
wait? What
threatening
do you
someone with
mean
a
he's
knife.
gonna try to sue me? I was in fear for my life.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
over there. I tried to render aid. I called 911 immediately to ask for an ambulance. He couldn't make it. I'm not a trained medical professional.
And like I said, it won't happen anytime soon in the States. But
Yeah.
we have, and this is why
I,
another thing that I was
I don't think
quite
it's gonna
concerned
happen in
about.
Sudan anytime soon either.
No, but things like that could quite easily happen in Switzerland, as China is routinely sending Chinese police officers to Switzerland to go on patrol with Swiss police officers.
How are they allowing that?
Good question. I have no idea what's going on in people's
I
mind.
thought
Again,
the Swiss were like, this is Switzerland. We don't do these things. Go elsewhere. We're happy.
no, and the thing what is upsetting me is that this is being kept quiet. So when there was an initiative 20 years ago or so, and my dad was part of it as a police officer. They went to a French police station and were doing police work with the French. Yeah, they were not enforcing laws, but they were basically like you do in a school exchange. They did that with police officers. French police officers came to Germany, and we did that also with Poland, with the UK. And look, it's kind of interesting. So one of the things that the French, I think, are doing way better in policing is if you need police during the hours of the night, yeah, the first question the police is going to ask you, is this an emergency? If not, come to the station in the morning. We have so many people calling the police for F all. So it's a much better approach, kind of my personal opinion. Yeah. So, but again, this is I think Western people are terribly naive when it comes to anything that has to do with China, and this is also people only see one thing. Yeah, they have a police station here. So what? Well, now they are harassing Chinese. Yes, so what? They are not harassing me. But nobody sees that this is the next step that's going to happen.
No,
And
I'm not
the laws
okay
are
with the
already there.
first step. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not okay with it either. You see, the next thing is let's not go to police station. Let's go to what they call the Confucius Institute. It's just another well, when I say united front, people that have looked a bit deeper into the doings of the CCP know what that is. It's basically a foreign enforcement arm of the CCP. And they go to Western universities and monitor Chinese students. They go to any kind of event where anybody talks about China, Taiwan, or something and disturb these events. So it's yeah, it is something I do not recall the George Washington Institute of Liberty anywhere in China. So
No.
what I'm looking at, there is no reciprocity. And my question for Western governments and Western people, why is one country and only one country in the world getting a free pass on anything, anywhere they do?
I couldn't tell you because personally, I think it's bullshit.
Well, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. So, and the first thing of this new security law that it says it widens the reasons, or it doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. It is just more technical, more opaque, and at the same time they are saying we want foreigners coming back to China. We want foreign investment to come back. Well, if you at the same time put it in writing that you can arrest anyone at any time and make up charges however you want, then more and more people are going to say, nah, not worth it. Now, you asked me how many British in Hong Kong. I can't give you a number on British and Hong Kong, but I can tell you right now there is roughly 850,000 foreign individuals in China right now. That includes people that
That
work
seems
there,
way too
dependents.
high.
I'm surprised it is that high because I know that less than 100,000 people are currently employed by Western companies in China. So there we go. So yeah,
Maybe
you
they
will.
like it there. Hey, to each their own. I'm all for personal liberty if that's your thing, if that's what you feel
I
makes you
can tell you the
safe. Or,
number before COVID.
I mean,
Officially before COVID, over 2 million, and the number I have heard was 2.6, almost 2.7 million. Still a drop in the ocean. Yeah,
see
but
that the pre-COVID numbers to me seem low, and the numbers of people who are still willing to give it a try
yeah.
now seem far too high.
So when I look at my own experience, you see, when I came there, well, it's clean where I am. It is orderly where I am. But as soon as you get out of this bubble, it's rather different. And again, also the cleanliness is and orderliness is for show for Western people, and it comes at a horrendous human cost.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
one
there's
of the
always
things,
one grocery store in North Korea that's always full of everything. You're just not allowed to shop there.
you're not allowed to look at it, essentially. But one thing, how the streets in the foreign quarter, so to speak, in the city I lived in, was kept clean, was a huge number of particularly older people that were sweeping the floors. They were literally sweeping the road, that's on the side of the road, with one of those not straw but wooden brooms.
Yeah, push broom.
So yeah, and I know where these people are from. So it's either it's they are wearing that kind of uniform, clean the road, or they are being kicked out of the city for vagrancy. Yep.
Damn.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
homelessness, I'm learning is like a very, very scoffed at, frowned upon,
yeah,
dishonorable thing in the Asian cultures. I
yeah.
recently saw a thing on Japan where, yeah, I didn't
There
know it was like
are
that,
they are well,
but it turns out it's not just Japan. It's it's
no,
an
it's
Asian
everywhere.
cultural
And
thing.
when you actually know where to look, you can see how many people in China, even in the good cities, are living on the street. So
But it's not like in America where there's tent cities blocking a road and all that. The Chinese
yes,
won't
it is.
allow that. Oh, I
It
thought the
is.
Chinese would never
No,
go for that.
no. What happens is once this
Ours
gets
is
a
on the
little bit
news.
out of hand,
Does China let that get on the news?
no, that is the thing. And if you
Okay,
were
we
to go
found the
there,
difference. It's plastered on our news. California homeless. California
yeah,
homeless.
look, if you go there to China and would record that, you would have a special talking with the police. You are making China look back, delete those.
Yeah, I'm not going
Yep.
there ever. But I get what you're saying.
So
Won't catch me there. You also won't catch me like that one journalist where I'm accidentally flying over Belarus or anything like that either. No.
uh, it's you need to have your marbles together when you do things like that. But the thing about the people that are still in China is some people who want to go can't. So quite literally, imagine you have a Chinese wife, for example, and you have children. The wife would say, "Well, good luck with that. I'm not going with you." Yeah, China number one, and you gonna pay shitloads.
Nah.
So yes, you will. So
Wait, there's
well,
not
it depends.
balconies on those apartments?
Um, you will get into shitloads of trouble even thinking about that, my dear friend. Um, no, the
Oh,
thing
rat.
is, there is. Well, I know, for example, in the Philippines, it's a huge problem of Western men going there, having sexual relations with uh, the female population there, fathering children, and just leaving the country.
See,
So,
that is 100% different, though.
well, in China, it can't happen. Well,
If you're
I
creating
want
a
to say
family, that's
I'm not
one thing.
condoning
If
that.
you're going
Yeah.
to another country just to take their women, I understand why Eastern European men beat the crap out of US guys and Western European guys who come over there. They're come over there just for sex purposes.
Yeah.
And these are their ladies, these are their potential candidates for mating, marriage,
Not only
stuff like
that.
that. They're their
Not only that.
sisters and
It's
nieces. So
exactly.
I
Yeah.
understand people coming to do stuff like that. I am totally against that. But someone trying to say, "Oh, I'm going to take your family away from you if you don't sign on to my
Yeah.
ideology or my religion or anything like that," I think I'm totally against that.
The other thing is there are Western people that have hook, line, and sinker swallowed the propaganda.
Mhm.
And how do I say that? Last year and the year before, China really cleaned ship. All the Western propagandists that are doing essentially Chinese propaganda on YouTube, on Western social media, were kicked out. There's only a handful of them left, and they got a new lot in, so to speak. And really, at
Whistling a
some
new tune.
point, yeah, no, the whistling the same tune, but new people that are easier to manipulate and cheaper. So
Oh, okay.
no, you have a large number of people that is a oblivious to the problem. B, next stage doesn't believe a problem. There is a problem for them, and people that for one reason or another cannot afford to jump ship. So let's just say you are an executive in Western or Chinese company, because you will be an executive, as you are not common worker there.
Right.
You have a Chinese wife. Even if you don't have a Chinese wife or children, you can't take your money with you. You can't take your intellectual property with you. You will be stopped at the border. It's look, in every location, in every gated compound, there is at least one person that has to know where all the foreigners living in that compound are at any given time. That is the
Well,
bloody
that's his
modus
job
operandi.
or
Yeah,
her job, whatever.
mostly his.
I
So
would think so. Well, I mean, the Chinese culture is very patriarchal, isn't it? Patriarchal.
extremely, yes. So
Yeah.
on paper, equality rules, but when you look at women are, well, let's just say I have seen one male bank employee dealing with customers, and everybody else handling peasants like me was female, while the executives handling real money and real stuff are all male.
Wow.
Yep. So it is extremely hierarchical, patriarchal, and there is no example to the contrary that would be accepted in any shape or form.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm not
again,
woke, but I'm also very anti-oppression.
well, there is a difference. Yeah, there is a
Yeah.
difference. But
Let's not
thing is,
swing the pendulum too far. Let's try to get
either
it to
way,
just wiggle in the middle.
the thing is, for Chinese people, they don't have any kind of overview how the real world looks like. Um, the other the I mean, how much do you think? How much of the internet can an ordinary Chinese person access right now?
How much do I think?
Yeah, how much do you
Uh,
think in percent?
3.7.
You're not too far off. It's about 5%.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a quantum leap from North Korea, where you can access less than 20 websites, all North Korean.
Well, we talked about that guy who got caught with the movie on the USB drive. They killed that guy, and everybody who watched it got basically hard labor forever.
Yeah.
And I was watching. Have you seen? I didn't get her name, but it's a North Korean defector. She's a woman.
Miss Park, yes.
She speaks very eloquently, and the more she talks like this, the more I feel for those people. But she had brought up a lot of stuff. She had said, when they don't give you a release date from the work camp, and the guy who was interviewing her was like, well, why not?
Punished.
She said, 3 generations will be punished if you don't save you're supposed to save the portraits of the dictators before you save your own family in a fire. But she said, they don't give you a sentence. Why need to? Most people don't make it 3 months. They're worked to death. Why give you a sentence? You're not going to be here in 20 years. You're going to be dead in 3 months, 5 months, a year.
And there is.
But yeah, I like that lady.
YouTuber.
That poor lady's talking about the worms. Everybody has worms, and she said about what they eat in different seasons. Do you remember what she said? What they eat? What happens in spring?
I don't look. I do not follow her things.
She said, well, basically, she said fruit in this season, bugs in this season, something else, and she said, and in spring we die.
Yep. The thing is, again, like I said, people have this naive idea about China because they have seen pictures of Shanghai. Yeah, as China is North Korea with money. That's it, and that's not me saying it. That's another YouTuber who has lived in China for way more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And again, also very positive at the start. And really, again, my question is, if China is so great, why does everybody who has a positive impression of China leave with a bad impression? What happens between those 2 points? The only thing that happens is China. So,
why does everyone who's tried socialism leave with a bad taste in their mouth?
You are not talking about Miss Lewinsky, do you?
No, I'm saying socialism sounds amazing until you let corruptible humans be in charge of implementation. It can't be done.
I want to wrap up this new Chinese espionage law. And want to make another point why this is so dangerous. It is now officially common knowledge that China incentivizes its citizens to denounce you as a foreigner. You get about, it's a bit more than 10 grand in real money, in US dollars. If you denounce a foreigner, this guy is a spy. And again, don't make any mistake. If anybody in China accuses you as a foreigner of any kind of wrongdoing, you will not leave that country.
I will not go to that country.
So really is again.
Hey, look, I'm not saying
why do we give these people a pass?
Everybody's a whore. Everybody's got their price, but I don't see enough zeros to get me to go there.
Yeah, there can't be enough zeros for me to go there.
You can't spend it when you're dead. You can't spend it. What, I want to be a rich man in prison?
And you can't spend it in China. So
now, if I was going to go to jail in the Netherlands, I've seen how their prisons are. Guys getting $2,000 or €2,000 watches delivered and stuff like that. I've seen prison documentaries about Scotland. I'll be a rich prisoner in Scotland or the Netherlands. Hell yeah, Switzerland. You fucking know it.
But how about some good news, Rish?
The good news is this is the most on topic we've ever done.
Absolutely, but just not to finish on a negative note. Just getting into this green energy thing, and let's just say it makes me even more hopeful in terms of energy independence and energy security, is that Africa is going through a massive green energy revolution, particularly solar power, and generating what we call green hydrogen, basically creating hydrogen with renewable energy electricity and then shipping the hydrogen to or using it for other purposes.
I'm familiar. A significant amount of our major cities and refineries have tried to do that to change over municipal buses to hydrogen fuel cells in a way for municipalities to be more green. So I'm familiar with the technology. It looks very promising. I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to see Africa, hey, I'm for Wakanda. Let's see a city like that over there.
When you look at Lagos, Nigeria, you are pretty close, and they don't let you in if you don't make at least $1 million a year. So there's that. So no, it's what I find encouraging, not only because I mean months ago I said called it, yeah, is that they are doing this specifically to sell that hydrogen to Europe. So yeah, I mean this is something where I say, yeah, this is a great partnership that we can develop Africa together. Another good piece of news in terms of solar power is that Spain just about to switch off their wind power because solar power is pretty much taking over in Spain. But then again, they have a bit more sun than we here in Scotland. So
Well, I mean, it seems like, they had done all these stories about if you did this much of Arizona
yeah,
in
yeah,
solar
not
panels,
working.
it would power all of America. And then you're like, do
Yeah,
you realize how many craters in America we would have to make and globally to get all that material to make those solar
yeah.
panels? But all I say is if
Not only
Africa
that.
figures out how to make really cool stuff out of sand, they'll give away the gold and diamonds.
Yep. No,
And hey,
first of
I'm
all,
rooting for you. If you're watching from Africa, hey, I'm rooting for you, baby.
so the problem with that idea that Elon Musk put out there is, well, yes, let's just say you have this huge power plant in Arizona, or he used Utah as an example. Yeah, but how do you get it
The
from
only
there
difference
elsewhere?
is a border.
Yeah. So really, this you need it way more localized. Also to increase the security of the power grid, not only in terms of any kind of foreign interference, but simply, let's just say there is any kind of accident or natural catastrophe in a certain location, a
Mhm.
lot of capacity goes offline. So you don't want that either. Pardon me. Oh,
Well, and plus, if you put
ah,
your major energy consumption where you have some of the least diverse and least dense infrastructure,
yeah,
then if one of the main arteries going out for your power goes down,
yeah,
the backups aren't there to wiggle it around. That's one of the great things about America. If the interstate is blocked up, before the interstate, we had this huge highway system that's still maintained. They're smaller roads, they have more stops, they have stop signs instead of this Autobahn style limited access and egress, but there's a fallback network of the previous infrastructure that's still extremely valuable and usable. You put power in the middle of nowhere, there's no fallback system. There's the system you implemented, period.
exactly. So yeah, I
Unless
mean,
you want to try
like I
to get
said,
Nikola Tesla's idea, put a Tesla coil at the North Pole and the South Pole, and I don't know. I mean, he ain't around to fix it no more, and I don't know anybody who's as smart as that dude. So
yeah. No, really, for me again, this is the kind of thing. All the negative stuff that also the stuff we talk about, there is plenty of positives to look at and say, well, this is not going to go on forever. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's me for today.
He's rolling.
Over there is
I'm
Rish.
Rish.
We
And
are
let's
both a
find
lot
out
smarter
about green
now.
African energy at some point in the near future.
Well, definitely worth looking at.
Love
And
it.
yeah,